first time I met 50. And I think one of the things I noticed when he first walked into the room was his presence, right? Because it just kind of felt like he's gonna be a star. Like just the way he carried himself, swagger, everything. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like he was the whole package. I'm here today because this is not only like a business partner to me, it's one of the best friends I've ever known in the world. And I would say that it's much more fun to be his friend than it is to be his enemy.
The moment Eminem's name started trending alongside Jay-Z and 50 Cent, the internet didn't scroll, it froze. Not because a diss track dropped, not because someone threw direct shade, but because one comment sparked a wave of speculation that moved faster than a surprise album release. When rap royalty appears in the same headline, people don't relax. They investigate. Jay-Z makes a remark. Fans decode it like it's hidden lyrics. 50 Cent's name enters the chat, and suddenly timelines tighten up. Then Eminem speaks. And that's when everything feels heavier. This isn't random industry gossip. These are legacy-level names with decades of influence behind them. Was it tension? Was it loyalty? Or did the internet turn a casual statement into a blockbuster narrative? Because in hip-hop, perception travels faster than facts. One comment becomes a theory. One theory becomes a trending debate. And suddenly, we're watching history-level figures move in real time. And trust me, when Eminem addresses anything connected to 50 Cent, ears don't just listen. They lean in. The moment Jay-Z's comments started circulating, it didn't arrive with sirens or dramatic sound effects. It was calm, measured, almost casual. But when you're dealing with someone whose legacy stretches across decades, even a casual remark feels calculated. Hip-hop fans don't just hear words, they scan for subtext like it's hidden in the beat. Jay-Z isn't just an artist. He's a mogul, a cultural architect, a figure whose opinions carry weight whether he intends them to or not. So when his statement brushed close enough to spark conversation involving 50 Cent, the internet didn't shrug. It zoomed in. Threads started forming before the clip even finished buffering. At first, it looked harmless. Just commentary, just perspective. But the hip-hop community thrives on context, and context in rap history runs deep. Decades of collaborations, rivalries, business moves, and public interviews create layers that fans never forget. So when one legendary name touches another, the reaction is instant. Within minutes, 50 Cent's name began trending. Not because he said anything yet, but because people expected him to. That's the power of reputation. 50 has built a brand around reaction, commentary, and strategic social media timing. Even his silence feels intentional. The speculation machine kicked into high gear. Old interviews resurfaced like artifacts from a museum. Classic tracks were reposted. Fans began drawing invisible lines between past moments and present headlines. It wasn't about confirmed tension. It was about possibility. And possibility spreads faster than facts. Some fans insisted Jay-Z's comment was being misinterpreted. They argued that tone can't always be decoded through short clips. Others felt there was something layered beneath the surface. The debate wasn't aggressive, it was analytical. And analytical debates last longer. Then Eminem entered the conversation. Not with an explosive diss, not with hostility, but with clarity. His response, as publicly shared, felt grounded. It didn't scream drama. It didn't escalate the situation. But it acknowledged the buzz. And that acknowledgement made everything louder. Because when Eminem speaks about anything connected to 50 Cent, people don't just listen casually. They remember history. They remember how Eminem championed 50 early in his career. They remember the loyalty narrative that's been consistent for years. So even a calm statement carries weight. Social media responded like it had been waiting for that moment. Screenshots circulated. Quotes were highlighted. Thumbnails with bold captions popped up within hours. Reaction channels framed it like a turning point, even though no direct conflict had been declared. The interesting part wasn't aggression. It was alignment. Supporters interpreted Eminem's words as solidarity, as subtle reinforcement of loyalty, as a reminder that bonds in hip-hop aren't surface level. Critics argued the internet was over-amplifying a simple clarification. But here's the reality. When icons share space in headlines, amplification is automatic. The conversation shifted from "what did Jay-Z mean?" to "where does Eminem stand?" That shift changed the energy completely. Now, it wasn't just about a single comment. It was about legacy positioning. Hip-hop fans love comparing impact, sales, influence, cultural shifts. Once all three names were trending together, the debate widened. People started revisiting statistics, awards, and historic moments. It felt like a rap symposium disguised as a viral moment. And yet there was no diss track, no public feud announcement, just commentary interpreted through years of context. That's what makes it powerful. Because hip-hop culture values both competition and loyalty. Eminem's connection to 50 Cent is rooted in mentorship and partnership. Jay-Z's standing in. The industry is built on empire-level moves. When those worlds brush against each other in headlines, fans assume layers. Speculation became the main character. Some claimed tension was brewing. Others insisted nothing was wrong. The internet split into camps, not because of confirmed hostility, but because narratives are addictive. What added fuel was the speed of reaction. Within hours, podcasts dropped emergency episodes. YouTube breakdowns analyzed tone. Twitter threads debated loyalty versus neutrality. It was as if the culture was collectively leaning in. Eminem's tone from what was shared remained steady. It didn't suggest war. It didn't threaten escalation. It sounded like someone addressing noise before it spiraled further. But calmness doesn't always quiet speculation. In fact, sometimes calm makes things feel bigger. Because when people expect fireworks and get composure instead, they start searching for hidden signals. That's exactly what happened. Fans dissected body language in clips. They analyzed word choice like it was lyrical analysis. They compared past interviews to present statements. It wasn't just entertainment anymore. It became investigation. And that investigation fueled engagement. By the end of the first day, headlines framed the situation like a brewing rap chess match. Even though no one moved aggressively, the perception of potential movement kept interest high. The truth was simple: no confirmed feud existed. But perception rarely waits for confirmation. Eminem's involvement reminded fans of loyalty narratives. Jay-Z's comment highlighted how even subtle remarks from powerful figures can ripple widely. And 50 Cent's presence, even without heavy response, added tension by default. Because 50's brand thrives on unpredictability. As the conversation stretched into the next day, one thing became clear. This wasn't about insults, it was about weight. The weight of names, the weight of history, the weight of perception. Hip-hop doesn't need open warfare to trend. Sometimes all it needs is three legends sharing oxygen in the same headline. And once that happens, the culture doesn't scroll past. It zooms in. Part 01 ends not with explosion, but with pressure. The kind of pressure that builds quietly. The kind that doesn't announce itself loudly, but lingers. Because when Eminem speaks, Jay-Z comments, and 50 Cent trends, the conversation doesn't fade overnight. By the time the second wave of reactions hit, this wasn't just a trending topic, it was a full-blown cultural debate. What started as a single comment had now evolved into timelines dissecting decades of rap history. Fans weren't just reacting emotionally anymore, they were pulling receipts. Old interviews resurfaced, vintage award show clips reappeared.
Lyrics
from early 2000s albums were suddenly relevant again. The narrative shifted fast. It stopped being about what did Jay-Z mean, and started becoming what does this mean for the culture. That's when things escalated from gossip to generational debate. Because when Eminem, Jay-Z, and 50 Cent share the same headline, you're not talking about random names. You're talking about pillars. Memes exploded across platforms. One viral edit showed the trio sitting at a chessboard with captions like, "Grandmasters only." Another joked that hip-hop group chats must be tense right now. The exaggeration was playful, but the engagement numbers were serious. This wasn't casual scrolling content. This was headline-level material. Podcasters jumped into overdrive. Emergency episodes popped up overnight. Is there tension? Was that a warning? Is this loyalty or a strategy? Every episode title leaned dramatic, even if the facts remained neutral. Because drama sells clicks, but speculation sustains them. Supporters of Eminem framed his words as calm leadership. They argued that stepping in to clarify or align showed maturity and loyalty. They pointed out his long-standing relationship with 50 Cent, emphasizing how rare that type of bond is in the music industry. For them, it wasn't conflict. It was solidarity. Jay-Z's supporters countered with legacy arguments. They highlighted his empire-building, business dominance, and cultural influence. They insisted that interpreting his comment as tension was a reach. In their view, it was intellectual commentary, not confrontation. And then there were the 50 Cent loyalists. They didn't need a long statement. They simply reminded everyone that 50 doesn't move lightly. Even his silence can feel strategic. That silence became part of the narrative. People waited. Refreshed timelines. Expected something sharp. The internet thrives on anticipation. As reaction channels continued uploading breakdowns, body language analysis became oddly popular. Fans replayed video clips, analyzing tone, pauses, and facial expressions like it was courtroom footage. Look at the way he said that. Notice the emphasis on that word. The level of scrutiny was intense. But here's what made it fascinating. None of the three artists escalated publicly. No diss records dropped. No heated interviews aired. No Instagram rants went viral. And yet the debate intensified. That's the power of legacy-level names. They don't need chaos to trend. Their presence alone is enough. Comment sections turned into scoreboard arguments. Who influenced more artists? Who sold more records? Who reshaped culture the hardest? The original comment became background noise. The comparison became the headline. It felt less like drama and more like a rap hall of fame. Debate disguised as tension. What amplified everything was nostalgia. Fans revisited the era when Eminem co-signed 50 Cent early in his career. They replayed classic collaborations. They remembered historic moments when Jay-Z shifted the industry's direction. Suddenly, the present felt connected to the past in real-time. And nostalgia is powerful fuel. Even celebrities outside the trio began subtly engaging. Likes on posts, retweets, cryptic captions about loyalty and respect. Nothing direct, but enough to keep the conversation moving. The ecosystem felt activated. Meanwhile, skeptics argued the entire situation was being blown out of proportion. They insisted that hip-hop fans love building mountains out of neutral comments. They pointed out the absence of confirmed hostility. But here's the twist. The absence of hostility didn't calm anything. It made people dig deeper, because when fans expect fireworks and get composure instead, they assume something bigger is brewing beneath the surface. Calm gets interpreted as strategic restraint. Silence becomes suspense. The conversation expanded beyond the artists themselves. It became about loyalty in hip-hop, about whether alliances remain strong in an industry built on competition, about how legacy figures navigate commentary in a social media era that magnifies every word. That's when it felt less like gossip and more like cultural commentary. Eminem's tone, based on what circulated publicly, remained composed. It didn't sound like someone gearing up for battle. It sounded like someone aware of the noise and choosing clarity over chaos. But clarity doesn't always quiet the algorithm. The algorithm prefers questions, and there were plenty. Is this the start of something? Is this just fan fiction? Are we reading too much into it? The more those questions circulated, the longer the topic lived. By the end of the week, headlines cooled slightly, but the narrative remained archived in digital memory. Anytime any of the three names trend again, this moment will resurface. Because that's how the internet works. It never forgets intersections. Part 02 doesn't end with resolution. It ends with sustained curiosity. The artists didn't escalate. They didn't fuel chaos. But the culture did what it does best. It amplified potential tension into full-scale debate. And when legends share oxygen and headlines, even the calmest words can feel seismic. The storm wasn't loud. As the initial wave of excitement settled into steady discussion, something more interesting began to surface. The story was no longer about what was said, it was about what it represented. In hip-hop, words aren't just words. They're chess pieces, they're signals, they're reminders of history. And when three generational names like Eminem, Jay-Z, and 50 Cent occupy the same conversation, the culture pays attention differently. The absence of escalation became part of the narrative. No diss track followed, no direct interview attack surfaced, no public fallout unfolded. Instead, there was composure. That composure, ironically, made the moment feel heavier. Because when giants don't react dramatically, fans assume the calm is intentional. Public perception began stabilizing into three camps. Some believed the entire situation was blown out of proportion by overzealous fans hungry for tension. Others insisted that even subtle remarks from figures of that magnitude deserve analysis. And a third group simply enjoyed the spectacle, watching the debate unfold like a strategic sport. What stood out most was loyalty. Eminem's connection to 50 Cent has been visible for years. It's rooted in mentorship, collaboration, and shared success. That history doesn't disappear when headlines form. So when Eminem addressed the bus, fans framed it as reinforcement of that bond rather than escalation of conflict. J-Z single quotes S position in the conversation carried a different kind of weight. He operates from a mogul-level vantage point.
His words
Often sound reflective rather than reactive. That tone, however, doesn't stop fans from applying intensity to interpretation. When someone with empire status speaks, every syllable feels deliberate. The real consequence of the situation wasn't hostility, it was awareness. It reminded audiences how powerful these names still are. No controversy needed. No direct attack required. Just proximity in a headline was enough to generate millions of impressions and days of debate. Hip-hop has always balanced competition and respect. It thrives on lyrical battles, but it also values legacy and alliances. This moment exposed how sensitive that balance can feel in the social media era. Where once conversations happened behind studio doors, now they unfold in real time across timelines. As days passed, podcasts revisited the topic with calmer tones. Analysts framed it as an example of how quickly narratives spiral online. They pointed out that the internet's appetite for tension can sometimes overshadow reality. And reality, in this case, remained relatively steady. None of the artists appeared rattled. None shifted their public stance dramatically. Instead, they continued moving within their own lanes, releasing content, making appearances, focusing on projects. That forward motion suggested confidence rather than chaos, but even without fireworks, the cultural ripple mattered. It showed how quickly legacy conversations reignite, how fans use history as context, how loyalty and perception intertwine. The discussion may have cooled, but it didn't vanish. It entered digital memory, ready to resurface. Anytime any of the three names trend again, that's the long-term effect of moments like this. They don't explode and disappear. They simmer and archive. The real impact wasn't about rivalry. It was about positioning. Eminem's clarification reinforced loyalty narratives. Jay-Z's original comment reinforced his influence. 50 Cent's presence reinforced unpredictability. None of them needed to attack to command attention. Attention followed naturally. In the modern hip-hop landscape, where social media magnifies every whisper, composure becomes strategy, silence becomes signal, and measured words become headlines. Some fans still debate whether tension was ever real. Others insist it was nothing more than algorithm-fueled imagination. But here's the deeper truth. The conversation itself proves how powerful these figures remain. They don't need diss tracks to dominate discussion. They don't need chaos to trend. Their legacies are enough. The situation ultimately became a reminder of how hip-hop culture values both history and hierarchy. Fans protect reputations fiercely. They defend loyalty passionately. And they interpret comments through emotional lenses shaped by years of music and moments. Part 3 closes not with confrontation, but with clarity. No confirmed feud erupted. No dramatic fallout reshaped alliances. No lyrical war was declared. Instead, what unfolded was a masterclass in how speculation can amplify neutral commentary into full-scale cultural debate. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part. 3. Legends shared space in headlines. The internet reacted predictably, with intensity. But the artists themselves remained steady. That steadiness spoke louder than any diss could. Because in hip-hop, sometimes the loudest move is refusing to escalate. The buzz may fade from trending pages, but it won't disappear from memory. It's now part of the archive, a moment where perception outpaced reality, and reality quietly maintained its balance. If you made it this far, you already know. This wasn't just about one comment. This was about legacy, loyalty, perception, and how fast the internet can turn a sentence into a full-blown cultural debate. 3 icons in one headline, and suddenly timelines feel like championship night. Now it's your turn. Smash that like button like it owes you platinum royalties. Don't tap it softly, hit it with legendary energy. Because when hip-hop tremors shake the culture, we break them down sharper, louder, and deeper than anybody else. Drop your take in the comments right now. Was this unity? Was it overblown speculation? Or did the internet just build a storyline out of thin air? I want bold opinions, but keep it respectful. This is debate, not disrespect. Let's see who really understands the layers. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Around here, we don't miss cultural collisions. When rap giants trend together, we decode it. When narratives spiral, we separate perception from reality. And when the timeline heats up, we're already 3 moves ahead. Turn on notifications. Because hip-hop headlines don't come with warnings. They drop suddenly. And when they do, you'll want front row access. 1 comment. 3 legends. Infinite interpretation. Welcome to Fame Blueprint, where culture gets dissected, not distorted. Distorted.